Let's see
The
it.
Russians sent several tanks and armored vehicles to assault a Ukrainian village, splitting them into small groups. While the armored vehicles with infantry tried to move closer to the landing
Bastards.
point, the tanks began shelling Ukrainian fortifications. By splitting their attack directions, the Russians effectively put pressure on the defense with constant shelling, giving the Ukrainian defenders no time to rest.
Get some drones out.
In doing so, they provided cover for the group of armored vehicles, diverting attention toward themselves. Everything is going according to plan. The Russians have the upper hand in this offensive, and after some time, a significant portion of the Ukrainian defensive positions is destroyed. That's more than enough for one of the APC groups to reach the outskirts of the village and begin capturing the remaining Ukrainian positions. Meanwhile, another small group of armored vehicles approaches the village from the opposite side. The APC leading the column hits a mine,
Yes.
but its armor withstands the blast,
Damn
and
it.
it keeps moving forward. Several other vehicles are also on fire, but they've almost reached the drop-off point. Lost, the Ukrainian soldiers decide to abandon the village and retreat to the next defensive line. This time, luck is not on their side. They gather the wounded and try to quickly leave the combat zone.
Шо, как дела, брат? Как тебе? День сегодня. Я вражен.
During the evacuation, the Russians even tried to chase down one of the Ukrainian vehicles with an FPV drone, but they missed.
Oof, that was close, I ain't gonna lie. Yikes.
Now that the Ukrainian soldiers have left the strike zone, Ukrainian MLRS systems enter the fight, trying to halt the Russian advance. But it's in vain. Although several armored personnel carriers were hit by shrapnel, it wasn't enough to stop the
Nah.
assault.
You need to get those
Thanks
drones
to their
out there.
numerical advantage, tank support, and coordinated attacks from multiple directions, the Russians managed to deliver several groups of soldiers to the settlement, allowing them to take positions and establish a foothold at this location. After entering the settlement, the Russians continue firing at locations where Ukrainian soldiers might still be hiding. The mission can be considered successful. Several groups dismount and begin taking defensive positions among the ruins of the houses.
That's just wild footage right here.
No civilians remain here anymore. The Ukrainians have also withdrawn, and now this village belongs to the Russians. They captured it at a great cost and will hold it for as long as they can. After checking and clearing the area, the soldiers unload weapons, additional ammunition, and equipment, and begin fortifying their defensive positions. Russians celebrate their victory by symbolically raising a flag over the roofs of the occupied houses. But the Russian
Their garbage flag.
celebrations didn't last long. Just a few days later, the Ukrainians returned to the same location. Only this time, the element of surprise and the advantage were on their side.
Oh, we got the American
Under a barrage of attacks,
M113.
several armored vehicles managed to get close enough to the village to dismount assault troops.
It's right there. They're right
The
there.
Russian soldiers who were in the tree line are trying to escape the M113's machine gun fire and take cover inside nearby buildings.
Get them.
Ukrainian soldiers dismount from the armored vehicle and, splitting into several groups, begin the assault on the village. Although the Russians captured this village recently, they nevertheless managed to establish several defensive positions throughout the settlement, so driving them out will not be easy. In addition, the Russians have several drone operators providing support, and they're already on their way trying to stop the Ukrainians from advancing any further.
I'm gonna take cover for sure, man.
Alertness and quick reaction saved the Ukrainians from death. The Russians make a few more drops, but they are unsuccessful as well.
На зв'язку. Продвинулись на один дом. Осматриваемся.
Отстреливаются, да? Отстреливаются.
Був скид, все гуд, все гуд.
Both sides are engaged in intense firefights, but the Ukrainians are slowly managing to push forward. In one of the basements, they hear an ambush being prepared and quickly take action to neutralize the enemy.
Poor bastards. They don't even know what they're fighting for, you know?
Ще одна є. Чув?
Yeah. Get it. Oh, perfect.
Тікай!
Nice.
Давай, пробуємо заходити.
Smoke him out.
Under the cover of several grenades, the Ukrainian soldiers managed to clear the basement without any casualties on their side. But had they not recognized the trap in time, they could have paid a much higher price.
Ще одну туди, ще одну.
You throw 3 more in there.
Все.
These houses have been cleared, but advancing further will be much more dangerous. The Ukrainians will have to creep forward across essentially open ground, hiding only behind the branches of burned out trees.
That was... I think we've seen this one. That was close.
Incredible luck. Just a few more meters and there would have been no trace left of the Ukrainian soldier. Several groups of Russians are holed up in the buildings and are holding the defense effectively. They have a very strong position. The Ukrainians can't even see which windows the fire is coming from.
Бігом, бігом, бігом.
So they decide to move forward while covering their advance with fire and grenades as long as possible.
Все, 12 контроль.
For some time, the soldiers have to shoot back blindly. They're not counting on killing anyone, just hoping the enemy will at least reveal their position. The amount of ammunition an assault trooper can carry isn't infinite, and if a war of attrition starts, the Ukrainians will definitely be at a disadvantage.
Давайте вперед, вперед, потихеньку.
Прикрий. Давай, прикрий.
Getting a little closer, the Ukrainians finally notice some movement in one of the buildings and attempt to strike.
Постріл!
It didn't explode. I remember seeing this one.
Almost hit, but still not enough to eliminate
That's
the enemy.
crazy.
Проходим, проходим,
Did they
потихеньку,
have
Вася, проходим.
footage from both sides?
Шляпа!
One more try. One more grenade toward the enemy's hideout. The Russians are still alive and unharmed, but this time they've been spotted.
Вони в домі! В домі, п***е!
Now the odds are even. All that remains is to rely on your skills
Yeah.
and luck.
Що
A
це,
lot of
граната?
luck involved, that's for sure.
Закидуємо гранатами і бистро в хату! Хату закидати гранатами, блядь! Ой, мені явно не доплачують за цю роботу.
Yeah. That's wild.
The group leader takes a risk and decides to use the last RPG round they have left.
Заряджайся!
Ah,
Сука, блядь!
But he misses, and the round hits the ground.
needs to aim a little higher.
Що, проходимо вперед, трошки, хлопці.
As a result, under constant Ukrainian pressure, the Russians gradually began to give up their positions. A significant part of their fortifications was destroyed by the explosions, and with each minute there were fewer and fewer positions from which they could effectively defend.
Look at those tree lines. Bro, you fall on these tree branches, you might get hurt from that and not from the bullet.
Проходимо так і за одним!
Step by step, building by building, the Ukrainians were taking their land back. They act in complete coordination and without panic.
Пацани, економте БК! Плюс!
They outflank the enemy from different sides and wait for the right moment to strike.
Підходь!
The operation is extremely difficult, but thanks to precise command and high professional skills, not a single Ukrainian soldier in this group has even been wounded.
That's wild. Oh, you see him running.
For the Russians, the situation is becoming critical, and they understand that. The fighters have already reported to their headquarters that without reinforcements, they won't be able to hold this position. The Russians are trying to respond as quickly as possible, and the fastest support they can send right now is on motorcycles. They are mobile and have high off-road
Mad Max,
capability.
huh?
But they also have one major drawback, a complete lack of armor, and the Ukrainians know this well. Just as they know that an FPV drone can reach
That's
speeds
right.
no lower than a motorcycle. So several drone pilots take this incoming Russian reinforcement group upon themselves.
Чується ближче до нас.
Meanwhile, the Russians have no idea that the hunt for them has already begun. They are confident that the fields they are crossing to reach their comrades are outside the reach of Ukrainian operators. But this time, their reconnaissance made a mistake for which they will have to pay with
This
their
is beautiful
lives.
right here. Boom.
Due to the
Boom.
very heavy equipment losses caused by the
Boom.
high effectiveness of FPV drones, the Russians are increasingly neglecting the safety of their soldiers, sending them practically without protection.
I've said this a millions of times.
That is-
I've said it a millions of times. This is what they do. They send people into the meat grinder. Eventually, that scale is going to tip over. They're just not going to have enough people. Period.
That's why we are seeing a noticeable rise in the use of motorcycles whenever the weather conditions allow it.
Nice.
This reinforcement will not reach its destination. The Russians even brought in several volleys of MLRS. And with their last remaining strength, they are trying to prevent the Ukrainians from reclaiming their village.
Цель 0201А, цель 0201А, по основной.
The Russians opened MLRS fire without even bothering to consider that their own
Look at his
soldiers,
old ass
who were
system.
still holding the defense there, were still alive.
Still work. It still works.
Explosions are ringing from all sides. The Russian MLRS Grad is not a precision weapon.
No, it's
Perhaps
not.
that is what saved the Ukrainians from a horrific death.
It's inaccurate as shit. But it does cause a lot of BS.
Many shells land very close, destroying houses and ripping trees out with fragments. No one knows how many of their own soldiers they ended up killing during this operation.
Oh my god. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, how many of their own people they killed? It's thousands, tens of thousands.
But after these strikes, the number of places where one can defend safely has definitely decreased.
Сюда підтягуйтесь!
Damn, that was close. Oof, that doesn't sound good.
Проходьте лівіше. Обходьте.
The Russians fire a few more volleys and then quickly leave the launch area. They need to get out of the strike zone before Ukrainian FPV pilots lock onto them. Their mission, in their view, is completed. Did they help their own soldiers? Most likely, no. Did they stop the Ukrainian advance? Also, no. But the order was given, and it had to be carried out.
Oh, that's a big one.
Давайте, пацани, чим довше сидимо, тим більше, блядь. Йдемо сюди! Обходьте, блядь!
Now that's a command. That's an officer right there, man.
Будете жить! Пацани, лягайте, я плануту кидай.
The Ukrainians make one last offer for the Russians to surrender. They have practically lost this position already. No reinforcements will be coming.
There you
After
go.
the shelling stopped, the Ukrainians managed to approach the point from which the fire had been coming. Not a single one survived, but shots can still be heard from the buildings further ahead.
Yeah, I gotta clean him out.
The end of the mission is close. Russian artillery still reaches the edge of the settlement, and they mercilessly shell positions where Russian soldiers remain. They don't care about collateral losses.
No, they don't.
The main goal is to stop the advance of the Ukrainian assault troops.
З контролем! Чіпс, контроль, сука! Не розслабляйтесь, блядь.
Yeah, throw more in there.
Some Russian soldiers somehow managed to survive and hide among the ruins.
Not for long.
Ой, блядь!
Look at all that dust.
Ого, блядь!
Under enemy artillery fire, the Ukrainians continue the final clearing operation. Almost no Russian soldiers remain. Most were eliminated in the process, while a few managed to escape.
They're gonna keep hitting them.
Праву пристройку візьміть. О, да.
Oh, one more in there.
Тікай, гранату кину.
Among the buildings destroyed by artillery, someone is still trying to shoot back, but the forces are nowhere near equal.
Мені кажеться, я його ще запиздував з автомата.
The Ukrainians now once again control this location.
Виходь, будеш жити, блядь! Лежить. 200, отут. Подвал якийсь, подвал.
Oh, there's a little hole. Little hidey hole.
Мене нема, блядь. Давай.
In the end, the assault group notices someone hiding in a collapsed basement
There
and
you go.
without hesitation throws a grenade inside.
That'll be it right there. That'll do it.
Бать її в рот. Все, заходимо.
Yeah.
Це вони, сука, звідси кошмарили нас, на.
Clean out.
Закрепляйся, папки, чистим, закрепляем, заход.
Що тут чисто, дом? Надо в посадку заходити.
It was a very difficult path, but the mission is complete. The village has been returned to the hands of those it rightfully belongs to, and the Ukrainian flag flies here once again.
I will continue to watch these videos every time I get a chance. I have a personal thing against Russians. Okay. See, one of my family members died because of the Russians. And I have friends that also died because of the Russians. So my hate for the Russians is very, very high. And it's probably gonna be that way for the rest of my life. So I will keep making these types of videos while I react to Russians getting their asses kicked. I will do so for probably the rest of my life because I feel like that's the right thing to do. There's many other things I could also do, right? But this is the least I could do. So I hope you guys enjoy these types of videos that I watch. If you have any other videos I should watch, please link them in the comment section. Also, shout out to Spartan for these videos. He does an amazing job editing these videos. Check him out. His YouTube channel will be in my video description. Підпишись, це безкоштовно. Subscribe, it's free. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time. До побачення.
Мені подобається, як воно горить, як люди суетяться, пожарки приїжджають. Люди в шокі, глаза аж вилазять у них. А мені це по приколу.